Top of the morning to you. Welcome to Monday. I'm alive. Actually, I'm actually doing a little bit better than alive, I think, in my opinion. Yeah, as you can see, I'm at my normal office here in the good old Toyota, and it's one of those. Good morning, Jesse. How you doing? Yeah, it's just about to get onto the 405 right now. I'm running a little bit behind my normal schedule today, mainly just because I was like checking my finances and realized that I had made an accounting error, and I had to go stop at two places to go and rectify that before I jumped on the 405 to head to where I need to go today. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's not like I'm on a severe time crunch or anything like that, which is okay. Yeah, very good. Yeah, I'm glad you're not getting on the 405, because as soon as I get onto the 405, I am going to switch the camera around and see where, how badly this has all gone to shit. Actually, no, you know what? I'm getting on 405 at Hawthorne, and surprisingly, I'm not at a stop yet, so this is good. So I hope everyone else who's watching right now is having a good day. The weekend was interesting. I'm hoping that you guys had a good weekend, leading into the 4th. Thank goodness that at least, no one's working on the 4th, either at this job or at my other job, which I don't work anyway, so it doesn't really matter. The only difference is I'm just stuck there so I can collect the paycheck. At least here, I can do something a little bit more meaningful, like making sure that camps are running properly and everything else is going on. So, yeah, 405 right now. I'm just putzing along. I think I may be at an advantage today due to the fact that tomorrow is the 4th of July, and I think a bunch of people got the hell out of town, because I'm currently driving right now, and it's moving. This is very unusual. I am going, what sorcery is this? I think my biggest issue, though, is all the fireworks. Oh my gosh. So, for some of you guys, who know, I live in Lawndale, so basically at the 405 at Hawthorne, so I pretty much live, where fireworks are legal and are sold. The problem is that people, there's quite a few people who have, no courtesy whatsoever as to when fireworks would be going off. Now, fortunately, I live in Lawndale, not Hawthorne, where Lawndale, the chances of the bang in the air being a legit firework are much greater than it being in Hawthorne. Usually in Hawthorne, you're spending half your time trying to figure out if someone shot a gun or actually fired off a bottle rocket or some shit. And you're like, okay, I don't know whether or not I should be annoyed or I should duck. Now, with Lawndale, that's usually not the case. I think only during the time that since I've lived in Lawndale since 2015, that there was only like one incident where it was actual gunshots. So I've been very fortunate. The only problem is, here I am, Sunday night, I'm getting ready to go to sleep because I have to be up at 5. It's about 10:30, 10:45 at night, and I'm hearing bang, 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 and are you kidding me? You are shooting your freaking rockets at 11:45 p.m. on a Sunday when some of us still have to work. And I'm going, are you kidding me? And knowing Lawndale Hawthorne region, fireworks season is not just July. It's not just the week of July 4th. It's not just, the month of July. No, it's basically May to September. That's all you get, fireworks from May to September, and you just want to find these people, totally Liam Neeson, if I find out who you are, I will find you and I will kill you, that kind of thing. So that's a big issue. Not only that, it freaks out the dogs. My roommate has a dog. He's it's a beautiful dog, but I'm just like any dog. Loud noises scare the poor thing. So here's my take. I understand that fireworks are meant to be fun, but there is a time and a place to do it. I mean, it's kind of like the same issue that yes, July 4th, you do have creative license to run your things. And yes, hi Dee, I see your message. Nice to hear from you. I know when I got that friend request from you, I was I was quite surprised. I'm glad to hear from you online. I'll catch up with you in a bit. So, but yeah, I mean, it's not really too bad of a problem, when you're, when it's the 4th of July. Yeah, and the people that get bothered by fireworks the most easily, dogs, and those who have issues with PTSD involving loud explosions. Now, the reason why I say that and I just don't say straight up military is because there are people who did not serve in the military who have a sensitivity to fireworks. So, it's loud noises can bother some people. You don't have to be in the military to have a PTSD issue. I mean, yes, it's common. It happens frequently, but the loud bang and the surprise of fireworks can trigger some people, and it sucks. So we got to be a little bit more sensitive about the things that go bang. I will say that when it comes to fireworks, I remember this very vividly. When I lived in Ohio, my ex-mother-in-law had 2 dogs, and they were both labs. One of them was a white lab, and the other one was a gold, kind of like a yellow lab mix. So she was smaller, but the white lab had such an issue with the fireworks. And in Ohio, they have, especially in Columbus, there's a huge event called Red, White, and Boom. And it doesn't necessarily happen on July 4th, but it does happen within reason of July 4th, usually on the weekend. So if memory serves me right, they probably had Red, White, and Boom on Saturday night, or probably this past Saturday. And this is when, and it's the largest, and I will say, if there's any memory that I have, any positive memory I have of my time in Ohio, riding my motorcycle through on 670, on I-670, through Columbus, and just watching the fireworks hit the air and just boom as I'm riding across through the night. I think it was probably one of the more happy memories that I have of my time in Columbus. And it was really cool. Of course, as you know, dogs do not like this stuff, and it scares them. I mean, I've heard that there are some ways that you can condition a dog at a young age to be accustomed to loud noises and things like that, so that when these do happen, dog is unfazed. But, especially for those, especially the friends I have who adopt dogs, from shelters, and you don't know their previous history, there's nothing you can really do about that, and you just have to do what you can to keep them, safe. I mean, a couple things like that. Joe Beth, hi, how are you doing? Nice to hear from you. Yeah, unfortunately, just to answer, and I would like to give a shout out, especially because, you guys are in mountain time, which puts you about an hour ahead. It's an hour or 2 hours ahead. I forget what the thing is. Yes, unfortunately, I will not be able to join you guys for the ride-in. I originally was planning to do it. A few things got in the way. One of them being my jobs, my plural jobs, and the fact that I'm in the middle of grad school and I'm taking a class right now, so I was unable to plan far ahead enough and be able to allocate the funds to be able to go. So, unfortunately, sorry guys, if you're watching this, I give you a shout out from California. And I know it sucks because Colorado Springs is only 1,100 miles away from where I am. That is the closest that the ride-in is going to be for me for a while, and it really bums me out. Well, at least far the closest it will be without me having to take a plane. And I'm kind of bummed out right now that I'm not going to be joining you guys. I'm hoping that one of these years I'll be able to return, and hopefully with Eleanor hitting the 200,000 mile mark on her. But yeah, unfortunately that happened. Now, there is a light at the end of the tunnel for me in regards to my trips. Since, I was unable, because, to prepare for the ride-in, you have to kind of go, several months in advance. And I will tell you this, I got as far in terms of planning for the ride-in that I had already locked in a reservation for the Hotel Elegante. I already had my reservation for the hotel. And I was on the verge of turning in my registration for the ride-in, and then realizing the logistics behind my summer course at Cal State Long Beach, and that my job was not going to give me the latitude because of the unpredictability of everything going on. which is actually slightly annoying me in terms of how I'm going to be working on my online course for Cal State Long Beach. So I mean, it's just about 60 different things at once. I had to back off, and I couldn't do it. So I'm very disappointed, but at the same time, I was mentioning light at the end of the tunnel. You know, I had mentioned before that my administrator, my principal is leaving, and I was encouraged to put in some sort of vacation time in for July, so that, you know, I would be able to enjoy something. And I was able to, because there was no way that I could muster a last minute, attempt to Colorado Springs. I was able to lock in the next week, so the week after the ride-in, and I'll be able to ride Ellie, up north to the Bay Area. So the good news is next week, this is starting Tuesday, July 11th, and going through Saturday, Sunday, I will be up in the Bay Area. So if any of you guys are in the area and want to hang out, and I'm going to post some more stuff about this on Facebook, and also request a few suggestions as to, good places to go and things like that. I definitely would like your input. I'm probably going to be staying in the Petaluma area with a friend, and then hopefully being able to ride in every day. The nice thing is, I'm able to swing this vacation thanks to my motorcycle and very good friends, and just I just have to be as resourceful as possible because I'm in a crunch, and that I still need a break. So that's where I am at the moment. Just trying to do my best in terms of making things work, and someday it'll be. I hope to be at a point where when I want to take a vacation, I can do it. When I want to be paid a salary, I'll be able to be paid a salary. Like, I'm looking forward to days like that, But there's a lot of things that I can't replace right now, and some of the things that I can't replace are the memories of the interesting jobs I've had in my life. Things that are always going to be mine. Sitting on the 405 doing a second job that replaces the first job because the first job sucks. It's things like this, and being able to talk about, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness while sitting on the 405 on Facebook Live, because I can, and that's just what you do when, you have an internal monologue and you want to talk about it. So that's where that is. So during the weekend, trying to cope with the fact that I can't leave town like a lot of other people, had a great time on Saturday. If you joined us for Saturday, or at least some of the Facebook Live videos, nearby Alondra Park, which is exactly 2 minutes from my house. I got there super early, around 8 a.m. I actually ended up running into my old neighbors from my Carson house, walking and getting their morning exercise around Alondra Park because they had moved near the area as well. I'm going, oh, this is really cool. And so I got to catch up with an old friend, and that was really, really cool. And then to add to that, I got everything set up, and we had a total of 4 people at my little get together. Didn't catch any fish, but had a great time. And I said, you know what, if anything, we just got to make the best of it and have a great time. And I will say, I didn't realize, one of my friends who did show up, I didn't realize how good of a grill master she was. I'm going, oh, well, geez, that is something really cool. And then being able to catch up with friends and just chill. I'm hoping to do more things like that, something mini, like a little get-together, a shindig, something like that, just so that, we break the monotony of work and life. And I think one of the hardest things, especially with people, people my age, I'm pretty much in my 30s now, which is really crazy to think that, but we're busy, Some of us are married with kids. Some of us just are trying to get by and have to work like 17 jobs to make life work. And, just even being able to take a break and to set up something, even just to stop at the park and just hang all day. I mean, I've never played Cards Against Humanity outdoors until Saturday, and it was fun. And then being able to share that with a lot of other people, hey, it's one of those things that just happens. So I'm just really, really glad for that. Like I said, I will continue to try to carve out time, to just hang with friends. It is difficult. You all know it's difficult. For the people who are fortunate or able to carve more time out or have more ability to do it, please take advantage of it when you can, because time is such an asset that, oh my gosh, if I could squirrel it, I would be a happy camper as well. Maybe in future years, I'll be able to do trips every July, like I used to. When life changes and you're just trying to do your best, that's just where you are, and but I am grateful that I will be able to at least ride somewhat of a long distance. The ride back up north for me is going to be about 400 miles, so it's only going to be about a third of the distance from my place, Colorado Springs. But I will take that over anything. It'll be the longest trip that I have taken since 2016, but it'll also be the longest trip by far in terms of leaving town since 2013 when I came home. 2014. So it'll be good. And Eleanor is in a better place. She's finally fixed to some degree. The only major issue that she has at the moment is that her left blinker is flashing very, very fast. I have not figured out why. Eleanor's blinker is flashing extremely quickly. I'm thinking that it might be a corroded connector or something like that, because both the running light and the turn signal work. So there's really no rhyme or reason why it's just deciding to blink really fast, but it's okay because I can switch left lanes really quickly. It doesn't really bother me that badly. So continuing on, I'm actually making great time right now. I have not stopped yet on the 405. I'm still going. It's very surprising, which I'm going. I think everyone did get out for 4th of July. The way that the 405 works, or at least the way that camp works during the weeks that the 4th of July does not fall on a weekend, which happens sometimes. This year, 4th of July fell on a Tuesday. So what we do is with camp is that camp runs for 10 days, Monday through Friday for 2 weeks. In order to compensate for the one day that we lose to 4th of July, camp is extended by 30 minutes every day to compensate for the basically 8 hours of time that is lost due to the one day off. It actually works out great, and the kids, it doesn't affect the kids at all, and they still perform their final performance exactly the way that they would if they had 10 days. So basically they have 9 days, but they're extended, so when you add up time, you still get the 10 days worth of curriculum and time and training. So it doesn't even affect the kids. Session 2, we're going into our 4th week of camp right now, so once we make it to Session 3, week 1, that's going to be week 5 complete for camp. We've made it to the halfway point. It's a very quick 10 weeks, but a very productive one. So it's been good. So that you don't have to see my pretty face for a little bit here. Here's the current situation with the freeway. I am entering. This is the Getty Center is actually hidden in the clouds right now. This is the marine layer, and still going up the 405. But as you can see, it's pretty clear right now. I'm just charging up the hill, and there are barely any cars. I'm probably going to make it to Studio City in a ridiculously quick period of time. I don't know how this is possible, but you know what? I will take a holiday when I can. Last week was pretty nasty. It took me about an hour and 30 minutes to get home, and it was hot. Today's agenda is actually going to be a little bit different. I am not heading to Pasadena first after I hit my Studio City run. I'm actually heading to Chatsworth first. So Studio City is always my first stop, but instead of traveling east and northbound, I will be traveling west first and then shooting over back to Pasadena and then back down to Studio City, which then drops me back on the 405 and in a lot less traumatic shape because the Studio City is much easier to link to going home. So this is the 405. It's just a nice little marine layer here, kind of reminiscent about the time I used to ride through Colorado on I-70, which, if you ever have a chance to ride through I-70 through Colorado, it is so twisty, and you end up going through Aspen, and you go through all these cool, like, it's so twisty, like, you don't even realize that you're on an interstate until it tells you you're on I-70, and that was one of the coolest things I've had the chance to ride through. And I know that not all hope is lost, and I know that someday I'll be able to embark on such journeys again. I'm really glad I did them when I was in my 20s, and I'm really glad that I put on all the miles I did on Eleanor when I was still able to, and I still had the freedom to do it. Because, when life changed and, I couldn't do the same things that I used to, at least I have memories that I can take, and experiences that, are irreplaceable. So, very, very much worth doing what I did. So, yeah, just a bit misty here. Not so bad. I'm actually shocked at how fast I'm going here. We're kind of concerned this morning because, one of our, my boss had to make it up actually just behind me back to Brentwood. I think she probably made it in record time considering, how empty it is right now. So it's been quite good. Aside from that, I am taking Starbucks orders at this time. It's one of those please keep your hands and legs inside the vehicle at all times kind of things. But yes, if you like Starbucks, I am stopping for one. And going to go and snag something. If anything, I think we all could use a Starbucks right now. Why did we not? It's Monday. I've been up since 5 and change. Descending into the valley right now, the sun's coming up. It's actually quite nice today, can't really argue. We're probably in the mid-60s. This layer is going to burn off pretty soon, but I didn't even need my sunglasses this morning, which is quite unusual, but it's that remnants of the June gloom, I guess, that we're experiencing right now. Entertainment about this, and I guess this is the universe's version of I'm sorry that you're not able to ride to Colorado Springs this year. But funny enough is that I just got asked yesterday to if you guys know where Vacaville is, which is in Northern California. It's about 50 miles to the east of Petaluma. Anyway, apparently there's a hockey tournament happening the weekend that I'm going to be up north. And so I was asked to play in said tournament, and, of course this is kind of a slight predicament considering that I'll be riding on my motorcycle, which is the only way that this vacation is going to work logistically. And so I'm making a negotiation deal with with the teammate who I've actually played. I've played in a tournament with her before, actually a couple things before, actually 2 tournaments before. And I said, okay, fine. You know what? I'm on a motorcycle. If you can find some way to transport all of my goalie equipment, up north for me and back down again, and take care of things, then yeah, sure, and I can make this work. So I didn't throw that extra little detail in, but it looks like as an I'm sorry from the universe for not allowing me to go to Colorado Springs next year. I'm being gifted with an impromptu hockey tournament somewhere close to in NorCal in Vacaville. So I get to go to Cowtown and enjoy some hockey as an I'm sorry. I'm like, you know what? Hey, it could be worse. And it's going to be like old time's sake. Back in the day, when I was, I still had I used to pull a trailer with Eleanor. And I used to use it to carry my motorcycle gear to hockey because the distance from where I was living, my last residence in California before I moved to Ohio, was in Orange County. To get to El Segundo to play hockey was almost a 40-mile trek. And I used to hitch my bag and everything to a trailer that was pulled by my motorcycle and do that. So, of course this is happening sans motorcycle. Sans motorcycle trailer. But, this is kind of like old time's sake. I got to ride to hockey again. I think the closest that the last time I ever did this was I was still when I was still living in Ohio. When I played for Dayton, the Dayton Fangs, which was an interesting team in itself. I got stories for days on that one. I was one of the few teammates, basically, who had to drive from Columbus to go to Dayton to play a home game. Now, the distance from Columbus to Dayton is about 70 miles. And the rink that the Dayton Fangs used to play out of was in Beaver Creek, and that's off of an offshoot of I-70. So you had to get on I-675, if I recall. It was I-675 to get from I-70 to get to the rink. So that was like an additional 20 minutes off the freeway. Pain in the ass. Now it's bad, in Ohio, when for someone to get a half decent goalie to play in Dayton, they have to import them from Columbus. Yeah, that made for some interesting times. At least out here, being back home, the worst that I would ever have to do would be to drive from my house to Panorama City, which is probably about 30 miles. Okay, I can do Lawndale to Panorama City. That's like the worst it ever gets. I've never been asked to go to Valencia, which is like 50 miles away, up to 5. I've never been asked to go to Simi Valley. They'll pick up a goalie. There's enough hockey players out there, and you'd think so, right? But yes, it made for a fun time when I had to drive 70 miles one way. And there was a time that, we were short on cars, which that seemed to have been an ongoing occurrence where I used to live. I had to borrow a car, and this was this Volkswagen Jetta. And it was probably about 15, 20 degrees outside. And this car maintenance, okay, I will admit, it was my ex-mother-in-law's car, but she didn't know how to take care of any of her cars. Like, I mean, not even like the basic oil change or the courtesy of that. And so the car, and it eventually, within about a month after I had to borrow the car to drive all the way to Dayton, it actually blew itself because it had not received an oil change in over 20,000 miles. So basically the oil solidified and then seized the engine, and the completely burned out on I-270. That was funny because it was kind of like one of those things where it's like, if you can't take care of a car, basically, even just saying, hey, I need the oil change every 4,000 miles, and maybe if you can throw in a tire rotation, that would be great. Okay, thanks, bye. You cannot first world life if you cannot do a damn oil change in 4,000 miles. I'm sorry. So anyway, I had to drive this car all the way to Dayton. Now, it had other issues as well. For example, if you turned on the heater, which you would think would be an extremely useful thing to do when it's 15, 25 degrees outside, it would start spewing out this chemical smelling sludge in your face if you actually turned on the heater. It was very, very gross, and it was toxic. So then what would happen is, I would forget this, and I'm super cold. So here I am. I have gloves on. I have a hoodie on. I have a turtleneck underneath, and then I have my Dickies ducked down, super insulated work jacket, trying to stay warm, and I can't feel my toes because the car is so cold. And then I plumb forget. I turn the thing on, and then the chemicals and the grossness start spewing in my face. And then while this is happening, I realize what I had done. I immediately turn it off, and then I have to crack the windows open which then allows all the cold air to come in, and it completely defeats the purpose of me trying to stay warm. I'm like, no. So, yes, please, a point of advice, take care of your damn car. Please, just don't. Oh my gosh, when that thing finally blew, and then it was like, oh, I'm gonna get a new car, and it ended up I think she picked up like a new like Hyundai Elantra or a Hyundai Sonata or something like that. I'm like, okay, for the love of Pete, you're replacing it with a far more reliable car. Please don't screw this up. Just, oh gosh. But yes, I not only that, but like the Jetta that I was driving, it was one of the cheaper Volkswagens, because, you know, a lot of people, if you've driven Volkswagens before, there's you know, they're the ones that are made in Mexico, like the more budget friendly models like the Jetta and the Golf. I mean, I believe they're still made in Mexico. I think there's a factory down there. And then there's the ones that are like the more higher end ones that are like the Touareg, the Passat, like the nice ones, and those are still made in Germany. Well, I got, you know, as much as I don't like to say this, but I ended up getting the Mexican Volkswagen, and then not only that, it was already cheaply built. You also had to deal with the fact that it was, you also had to deal with the fact that, you know, it was already poorly maintained, and, you know, so it's like, it's kind of like, okay, are you just going to add insult to injury now? Anyway, I digress, but that was just my random story about, you know, how far I had to drive to go to hockey sometimes. You know, I don't, that was just hilarious. You know, fortunately I don't have to deal with that anymore, and it's okay. So anyway, with that being said, it is 7:26 in the morning. Believe it or not, I have made it to Studio City 34 minutes early. This never happens. I'm grateful for the 4th of July happening on a Tuesday. So I've just parked right across the street from the Starbucks. I'm gonna go grab myself a Starbucks. Hopefully you enjoyed some of the random stories that I threw out there today, and you know, things are on the up and up. You know, I may be unable to do proper arithmetic every now and then, and sometimes funds may be low, but you know what though, we're still alive and I can still get coffee, so it's not so bad right now. Anyway, I'm going to sign out now. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. If you have any questions, you know, put them in the comments. If you, I know I saw a few there, I will respond to them later. And yeah, thank you for watching, and yeah, until later. I think the commute home, I might throw something down, and it might be fast, you know, it might be a faster ride than I thought, you know, than I originally thought. So let's do this, and you know, enjoy your day wherever you are. If you're in Colorado Springs, or if you're on your way to Colorado Springs, please be safe. Enjoy the sights, and you know, and all of the nice amenities that come with the state of Colorado. If you know what I'm talking about, you know your limits. Enjoy yourself, okay? Ta-ta for now.